Congress party appears to have captured the poll narrative yet again by announcing this dramatic 72,000 rupees per poor family, poor being defined as the bottom 20% of 5 crore families. To give us more colour on what is the amount involved, we have with us Praveen Chakravarty, the chairperson of the Data Analytics Department of the Congress Party. Praveen, thank you very much for joining us. Well, first, just give us the details. There was still a little bit of confusion about whether the party is talking about 6,000 rupees per month per poor family, or is it dependent on how much that family is already earning and you want to just bring them up to 12,000? So it could be 5,000 for somebody, 4,000 for somebody. What exactly is the math you have in mind?
Sure. It's actually fairly simple, Latha. The poorest 20% of all Indian families or households will get the same uniform amount of 6,000 rupees a month or 72,000 rupees a year.
Okay, fine. Fair enough.
And that is 5 crore families that will get 6,000 rupees a month, 72,000 rupees a year. Okay. I'm happy to explain to you what you are implicitly referring to in terms of a minimum income.
Yes.
That is actually an inference. So if 5 crore poorest families in India get 6,000 rupees a month, by today's data standards, the average income of the poorest 20% of households is 6,000 rupees a month.
Okay.
You then they get 6,000 rupees more. And hence the inference or the imputed minimum income becomes 12,000. But that is just an outcome of the scheme. It is not the desired goal or the objective of the scheme.
Okay. Well, now let me come to the implications for the budgets. It's 3.6 lakh crore if I just multiply 5 crore with 72,000 rupees, and that would work out very close to 2% of GDP. Now, that's a tall ask, isn't it? Therefore, will it come at the expense of some existing subsidies?
Okay, see, I think before, I know this is the question that most of you in the business media are most interested in, and I'm happy to answer that. And I think it's a very valid question. But I would also urge all of you to actually go back and reread the chapter on basic income that was in the Economic Survey of 2017. It's actually one of the most remarkable pieces of policy literature in economic surveys. And it actually lays out all the details pretty clearly. So the first and foremost, we must understand that there is a social justice, equity element to this. All right? That's number one. Then the second part of it is, what do we think is the basic minimum amount that most Indian families should earn in today's India?
Yes.
That's the second part. And then comes the amount, actual amount of transfer, which is what I've told you, 6,000 rupees a month for every household.
Fair.
Now your question is, I think before I answer what is the maths of this, we must step back and see. Today we had a press conference,
yes,
Mr. Chidambaram and I, and we talked a little bit about the implementation plan.
Yes.
We've been working on this for the past few months. We've involved economists and experts from all over the world and in India. We have acquired data sets, we've acquired policy expertise, we've acquired economic expertise, we've studied examples from all over the world, and we have arrived at a certain framework. All right?
Yeah.
So the first and foremost is, I think what we have said is, we will, once we are in government, we will form a committee that will design, an expert committee that will design the rollout plan.
Yeah.
Second, we will bring the states together. This is a federal scheme.
Yeah.
In post-GST India, nothing can just be a central scheme.
Okay.
It will be a federal scheme.
Okay.
So we will take the states along, and then we will start rolling it out in phases. Okay, so this is the implementation plan.
Okay.
Now, if under this plan, how will we fund this? I think the simplest math that is what you have done, which is 5 crore families, 72,000 rupees a year, hence 3.6 lakh crores.
Yes.
It is close to 2% of today's GDP. That is, but that I think is a little too simplistic.
Okay.
Okay. So first and foremost, we do believe that we have to look at both the revenue side and the expenditure side in terms of how we are going to finance this.
Okay.
We believe that for a scheme like this, we do have both the economic, the fiscal, and the state capacity to be able to launch a scheme like this today.
Okay.
I admit we would not, perhaps India was not ready for this even 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
Okay.
Today, we are at 200 lakh crore economy.
Okay.
Nominal GDP growing certainly 15%, 16%, whatever it may be. All right? We
10%, Praveen, 10%.
60 lakh crores today. I said nominal, Latha.
Okay. Yeah, nominal. Nominal is not 10, 11. Look at the budget papers. 10, 11%, not more than that. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm saying when we are in government.
All right. Okay.
So,
Okay.
Today, the current expenditure of the center and the states combined is 60 lakh crores, roughly.
Okay.
We spend that amount today.
Yes. Okay.
At its peak, in the simplest math that you did, this is 3.5 lakh crores.
Yes.
So we are looking at 3.5 lakh crores of 200 lakh crore GDP, which is today's GDP, which will grow.
Yeah.
Or 3.5 lakh crores of 60 lakh crores of combined expenditure.
Okay. Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Praveen, no, I'm
Then
getting your
let's now
math.
look at the
I'm getting
revenue
your
side.
math. At 15% growth, you should be probably closer to 400,000 crore by the end of the term. So I take your point on that. But, just tell me, I've opened the page of the economic survey. It says that centrally sponsored and schemes and centrally sponsored sub-schemes are 5.2% of GDP as of 2016-17. My point is, therefore, will some of these schemes be subsumed? I thought Mr. Chidambaram said that schemes which don't have a specific social subsidies, which don't have a specific social intent, could be subsumed under this.
I will come to that. I will come to that. See, I'm only urging you to look at both the revenue side and the expenditure side. I think in this entire debate, the revenue side seems to be missing.
Okay.
All right? First, so that's why I wanted to come to the revenue side first, and then I will certainly come to the expenditure side. On the revenue side, the most basic thing that this would do is remonetize India's economy.
Okay.
Restart India's economic engine. We believe that just the mere restarting of the economic engine, which leads to investment demand and tax revenues, there will be a revenue bump almost immediately. This is economics 101, right? Money in the hands of people, leads to consumption, all of that. Second, a simplified GST and the tax buoyancy implications of that. All right? So there is potential for tax buoyancy and increases in tax revenues in today's structure without the need to raise any tax revenues or any tax rates.
Because of the GST.
That's number two. Number three, there are, absolutely. I think the GST has gone through a certain, the initial phase. It was badly designed and implemented. It went through its teething phase. But I do think once we simplify it, both on the regulatory and the operational side, as well as on the tax rates, there is enough tax buoyancy.
Okay.
Third, wait for the manifesto on April 2nd.
Okay.
There will be something that we can talk about in terms of revenues that can be monetized from assets.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So there are revenue opportunities. All right?
All right.
Now let's come to the expenditure side.
Okay. Okay.
On the expenditure side, since you have the economic survey open, I will tell you, because I've read it so many times, there are, back then in 2017, there were roughly 950 centrally sponsored schemes. 11 of them are the big, important schemes. That cost as much as the remaining 939 of them.
Okay. Okay.
So, when we say that we will look at the expenditure side, scheme by scheme, carefully. We do believe, and obviously when I say this, we have done a little bit of work here. We have looked at it, and we do believe that there is opportunity to rationalize some of the 939.
Okay. All right.
And with tax revenues in place, we can easily fund it.
Okay. We are running a show with commercial breaks, so I'm trying to squeeze in a little more in terms of time. The economists, some of whom the Congress Party consulted, like Lucas Chancel and Abhijit Banerjee, were speaking with us on the channel yesterday. Both of them said that the super rich need to be taxed. Will that be part of this plan?
It's a little kind of premature for us to start talking about. I mean, you're basically asking us for what the budget would be. When I'm saying this is an idea,
I'm asking the broad. No, Praveen. No, Praveen. I'm not asking you up to a decimal point or even a round figure. I'm only asking you the principle of it. They said the super rich, the highest 1%, should be taxed more. Common to both Abhijit Banerjee and Lucas Chancel. Is that in principle acceptable?
See, Latha, there are arguments on either side. On one side, there is, a clamor for increased taxes on the super rich or the wealthy or whatever you may call. On the other hand, there is a clamor from, I think, your fraternity about what you think are dole and wasteful subsidies, such as food subsidy and fertilizer subsidy. I don't think either extremes are the only way to resolve this. We have looked at this in detail, and like I said, I think we are fairly confident that we will be able to find the money to do this, because I do believe everyone is underestimating the tax buoyancy revenues, as well as the ability to monetize some assets.
Okay. Well, do not classify us as a fraternity. I am a press person, and as you know, there are as many opinions as there are press persons. There is no one fraternity here. Well, just a final question to you. This monetized assets, what do you mean by that?
No,
do you mean
by
port land, railway land, or do you mean that all these wasteful, companies that are in the public sector, is it divestment of public sector? Is it divestment of government land? What do you mean by monetizing assets?
No, like I said, I mean, I think you would agree. It's a little unfair for you to kind of have me list out all the different things that we were going to monetize. We have had a look at it. I think the manifesto has a little bit more details. The manifesto gets out in April 2nd. My simple point is, let's look at this in a holistic manner. I think right now the debate is just too microscopic because of prejudiced notions. Some say you should drop this scheme and then fund this. Some say you should tax somebody else. I think we must look at it in a holistic manner.
All right.